Hey YouTubers, this is John Doe reporting from my Fortress of Solitude, the laundry room. Today I want to talk about worm castings. To give a disclaimer before I start the video, I'm not going to try to say I'm an expert on raising worms because I'm not. This is my second year, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's very simple. If you follow the guidelines, there's simple rules of this, and if you follow it, you will have success. If you do what I did at one point in time and want to follow what everybody else says and do this and do that, you may have some problems. I have two worm bins in my laundry room. The first one is my worm factory, and this is the one I got first. It's very self-explanatory. It's very simple to use. Matter of fact, the instructions are on the lid. If you follow these instructions, you will have success. My second worm bin is your classic plastic totes. The tote that's on the ground has bricks in it, and basically the second tote sits on top of the bricks, and the second tote has holes, small holes punched at the bottom so the fluid will drain into the first tote. And the lighting's not very good, or I would show you, but in this bin I have horse manure and paper and some organic matter. Going back to my worm factory, like I said, it's not the 360, but it's worked very well for me. I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake I did. I was doing research on the internet and reading websites and YouTube, and there was a lot of people that were saying that sawdust, worms, like sawdust, and I was like, well, I'm going to try it out. It's worth a try. So I had some of the horse bedding on the pelletized sawdust, and I let it. I didn't put the pellets in it. I got them wet and let them go to sawdust, and I put it into the bin. And everything was great for a couple of days, a week or two, whatnot. And, I may have added some food that may have been a little too acidic. I had a lot of coffee in it. And, the worms, they vote with their feet. If it's too acidic, if it's too alkaline, if it's too wet, if it's too dry, they're going to leave the bin in mass numbers. I lost a lot of worms. And at the time I was thinking, well, maybe it's too wet, and I did the sponge test, and I didn't feel like it was too wet. I didn't feel like it was too dry, but it hit me. What did I do different? It was the sawdust. I removed that tray. I salvaged all the worms I could salvage, and I was down to a tray and a half, and they've came back. I've harvested 2 trays, and I'm up to 5 trays now. I'm hoping to get to my 6, 7 pretty soon and be harvesting some more trays and just keeping that cycle going. Here's some worm castings that I have. And you can already see these worm castings are very fertile. I've already have some little seedling. That's probably a little pepper plant that's already started. It's dark. It's a little bit. The only complaints I've heard about using this system, other than the totes, is that the castings are a little more wet, but they'll dry out with time, and if they're wet, that's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. These have been in a bucket that were open, and these have dried out a little more, and I'm really happy with the results that I've had. And like I said, I'm not trying to say I'm an expert. If I can do this, anybody can do this. What I like to use, my wife knows some people that own and run a newspaper, and I can get these rolls of newspaper for free. Basically, when they do a run, they take the old roll out after the run's over, and they put a brand new roll in it. And usually these rolls are almost half, they've only used half the paper off of it. And this is a lot of newspaper, compressed on a roll. And, there's no ink to make a mess with. And basically, I just rip the paper off, and I take a pair of scissors. I would love to buy, a good paper shredder. I just don't have the money yet. I've just been taking scissors, and when I add food to my worm bin, I'll cut some paper up. You want to have a little more paper, in my opinion, you want to have a little more paper than the green, more carbon than the green. Basically, I've got, tea bags, and I always remove the metal staples, of course, but I've got tea bags, a little bit of coffee, vegetables that we have, rice, and they're really happy in here. It's really doing good. I need to add a little more. I like to add a lot of bedding first, and then I add my green, and then I add a little more bedding and a little more green. Right now I do have more bedding, and I do need to put some more green in that, and I'm aware. But there's a lot of beneficial things to these worm castings, and so far, And like I said, I don't know if I've mentioned this before or not, but I like starting my seeds and my seedlings in this worm castings. It really gives them a good, healthy start. If you look at this worm factory, it has a spigot at the bottom with a cutoff. You're going to have, once you get your worm factory going, you're going to have a constant flow of fluid. Worms secrete liquid. They have to stay moist to breathe. That's how they breathe. There's also fluids from the breaking down of the vegetable matter. Some people call this worm tea. My understanding is not worm tea. Worm tea is a different creature than this. Some people say that it's not. You don't use it on vegetables that you eat. You use it on houseplants. I've been pouring it into these aloes that I have outside, and these aloes have exploded. I started out with one aloe plant or a pot of aloe, and it's turned into 5 pots of aloe. And like I said, they say also I've done some research, and they say if it has a foul smell, don't use it. And so far, I haven't had any of this fluid that's had a foul smell to it. And we'll step outside for a second. My grandmother had passed away a while back, and I was giving her aloe, and it was just one container of aloe, and this is basically what I have now, just from pouring. I pour I call it the worm juice. I regularly water them with it, and they have exploded. It's about time to bring these guys in. I think we're heading towards our first frost of the year. But this is the results I have gotten just from using the worm juice. And I haven't even added any worm castings to this. But anyway, this is my video about worm castings. There'll be some more videos about worm castings to follow. If you like what I'm doing, please, comment at the bottom. If you don't like it, you can comment too. But anyway, this is John Doe, and I'm out. Thank you for watching.